Let's go on. You saw many medicinal and aromatic herbs. It means people really keen on using this kind of herbs, aromatic herbs, medicinal herbs in their life. There are lots of articles, there are lots of findings, there are lots of books about medicinal and aromatic herbs. Means people wants to use it in future too. I will tell the aim of this presentation to all of the group to provide scientific information about the education of the target groups in the sense like aromatic plants and especially medicinal plants to have been used directly, indirectly, and the nursery, about the nursery, mother plant nursery. Let's talk about the seeds. Open pollinated seeds are pollinated by insect, wind, birds, and other natural forces without human intervention. The seeds are generally easy to save and come up through the type. Almost all herbal seeds being sold are open pollinated. And the other type is hybrid seeds, are the results of cross-pollinating two species or two varieties within a species to produce a desired combination of characteristics. Hybridization happens naturally in many plant groups generally, and humans have been breeding plants for desired traits for millennia. Don't confuse hybrid seeds for GMO seeds, please, because GMO is very different than hybrid seeds. Isn't it, Professor Harris?
O GMO daha çok Mısır'da soyada ve şeyde
And you have to be informed. Yeah, you have to be informed that there is no GMO technologies in medicinal herbs, but mostly in corn, soybean, cotton, and the rice. The target GMO technologies on this seeds. They are in no way the same. There are some wonderful hybrids out there. Just keep in mind they are not true to seed from year to year. Compare it to open pollinated seeds. Where? Yeah. If you save seeds from a hybrid plant, there is no telling what the traits of its offsprings will be, but it's likely that they will not have the traits of its parent plant. It means its parent plants give you a chance to reproduction, but hybrid is not like this. You generally will not find herbal seeds that are hybridized, but sometimes potted herbs are hybrids. Cultivars for a short cultivated varieties are the results of hybridization, selection, or natural mutation. Cultivars typically need to be propagated asexually through division or cuttings to remain through the type. This is why it's better to purchase starts, little potted plants that have been divided. of mint varieties like peppermint or chocolate mint, then grow, then from seed to offsprings typically will not have the same desired characteristics as the parent plant. You will end up with a mint mut if you plant it from seed. GMO. Let's talk over the GMO. What is GMO and what kind of seeds has the GMO technologies, as mentioned before? GMO means genetically modified seeds have had their genes modified in a laboratory setting to produce desired qualities through practices like gene splicing. It's still unclear what the long-term ramifications of the GMOs will be, but concerns include loss of genetic biodiversity. GMOs can cross-pollinate with other plants and impacts of ecology and animal health, including humans, insects, and so on. You all probably don't need me to degrees on the importance of the cultivating seed sovereignty or on the dangers of mega corporations taking control of our seeds, patenting them, modifying them, controlling their distribution, etc. But we will say this: channeling our money to ethical, organic, and sustainable seed savers is no small things in this era of big agri-business. I need to inform you that when people start to talk about the GMO, you have to be away from this kind of technology. Even I'm a scientist, I'm checking all the time the new articles. They say that we know less, but we don't know much about GMO in future. Let me tell you basic objectives of the model nursery of MAPS. To provide quality and genuine planting material to the farmers, students, schools, other nurseries, and our target groups. To promote awareness regarding the medicinal and aromatic herbs. To provide bioresources for research in medicinal and aromatic plants. Collection and ex situ conservation of rare, threatened, and endangered medicinal and aromatic plants. To encourage growers and farmers for cultivation of medicinal and aromatic plants. Multiplication and propagation of medicinal and aromatic plants. As we presented the history of medicinal and aromatic plant, acronym is MAP. Utilization dates back to the beginnings of mankind. Our forefathers used natural substances they could find in nature to ease, cure their sufferings, illness, to heal their wounds. This type of approach has survived in the traditional medicinal uses until today. Since nearly 80% of the world population still relies on MAPs in their medications. It's really huge count, 80% of the population. The renaissance of MAP use in the high-income countries of the world has brought about a different type of use in the form of herbal medicines. MAPs have become industrial products with new concepts like phytotherapy and veterinary medicinal uses, aromatherapy, nutraceutical, cosmetical, and animal welfare uses, widening the scope of the utilization. New innovative value-added applications include their use of functional foods, animal husbandry, as well as plant protection in agriculture. In this regards, the versatile utilization essential oils is promoting. Still, we are using essential oils in our life very intensively, mostly East far countries using this kind of essential oils too much. Modern approaches in production and uses have brought about an increased focus on the importance of quality, safety, and efficacy of both MAPs and their produce. MAPs will also maintain their importance in the search for new, valuable sources of drugs and the lead components. In view of the steadily increasing demands on these important natural resources, attention should be paid to the sustainable forms of production and utilization. It's one of the aim of this project as well. The freshest medicine on the planet comes right from our own backyards and gardens. When we grow a personal apothecary of herbs, we have an immense and intimate relationship with their quality and integrity. For this reason, starting with healthy seeds and organically nurtured living plants is paramount. What constitutes a healthy seed source for medicinal, you might be wondering. Here are some key terms used to describe different types of seeds and plants and how they relate to herbs in particular. The first one, heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds come from old-time stock. Their ancestors were typically pre-WWII varieties that have been handed down for generations. In Turkish, we call it ata baba tohumları. Like ata seeds. Heirlooms are typically region varieties with specific traits that have been hand-selected over the years. Heirloom seeds are often pollinated and their characteristics typically remain stable. Means true to seed, from the season to season. Heirloom varieties are more common in the vegetable and livestock realm and as compared to medicinal and culinary plants. Many herbs have a long history of cultivation with seeds being handed down over generations. Still, there are few named regional varieties or recognized heirloom varieties of herbs. I think all nations have the same varieties of this heirloom seeds. Nursery is one of the component managed sites that is designed to produce seedlings grow under favorable conditions until they are ready for planting. All nurseries primarily aim to produce and provide the sufficient quantities of high quality seedlings to satisfy the demands of user. MAPs constitute a considerably largely component of natural vegetation. Several of MAPs species are in great demand for domestic consumption as well as for commercial use by the herbal industry. MAPS resources pools were plethoric in forests, but forest areas are destroying fast due to anthropogenic pressure. I mean, human pressure. Accordingly, the elective way to create increasingly crude materials could be just through development of restorative plants in farming fields. Importance of cultivation of medicinal and aromatic plants is increasing steadily due to the side effect of chemical. Please listen the sentences very carefully. A side effect of chemical and artificial medicines that is creating awareness among the people worldwide. Now we are talking about the modern medicines that they have many side effects of chemicals and etc. Conservation and improvement of threatened endangered endemic species of medicinal and aromatic plants is becoming very important recently. Now, basic information of model nursery, years of establishment, total area with mother plants, total collection of maps, seed collection around, let's say, plant seeds, talking about plant seeds, a grant allotted, total selling, person recruited, for example, one trained Professor Harun Baytekin with diploma background. We can have many programs just like this about the nurseries of this herbs. The use of medicinal and aromatic plants has never been out of focus throughout history. Our time, on the other hand, is witnessing a different approach to their utilization. For the first time in history, they have become industrial products for worldwide use. New concepts such as nutraceuticals, we call it functional as well as nutraceutical, cosmetic, phytotherapy, aromatherapy, etc., are widening their use and new applications in functional foods, animal husbandry, and agricultural pest management are taking place. New clinical evidence is also emerging on the effectiveness of medicinal plant products. The appearance of increasing number of monographs on plant drugs is national and international pharmacopoeias is a very good indication that legislative and regulatory authorities have a more positive view towards the increased use of medicinal and aromatic plants in conventional means classical medicine. Medicinal and aromatic plants have the common characteristics of having a high content in substances called active principles with very specific chemical, biochemical, and organoleptic properties, which suit them for therapeutic, aromatic, and gastronomic uses. The possibilities of their use for food, cosmetics, drugs, domestic, and industrial products is practically unlimited. You can use them in different and many areas. The different type of plant used in the industry are following: aromatic plants, spices, and the bitter plants, etc. And the resins too. You can see in different areas that different types of plant used in these areas. Let's talk about the industrial sectors that use MAPs. The principal industrial sectors that consume MAPs are in order of importance. The medicinal one and herbalists, food and perfumer cosmetics. Inside this sector, there are the pharmaceutical industries and herbalists, food, conditioning, manufacturers of essential oils and extraction and formulation. You can see use products applications use from the figure pharmacological powdered plants, extracts, essential oil, phytotherapy, homeopathy, aromatherapy, isolated active principle drugs, industrial raw powdered plants, essential oil extract, isolated products, food supplements, complements, food, perfumery, cosmetics, etc. Conservation and sustainable use of medicinal and aromatic plants. Maybe you can be serious about the speeds of this kind of medicinal and aromatic plants. Globally, an estimated 60,000 species are used for their medicinal, nutritional, and aromatic properties, and every year more than 500,000 tons of materials from such species are treated. In Europe, as a whole, imported a value of 462 million, $1 million in medicinal plants, while for the same period exported of value 1,044 million with values imports and exports, showing a significant increase along the period under analysis till 2002. Now I'm sure that it's much more higher, 2020. In the last 3 decades, a substantial growth in herb and herbal products markets across the world is verified according to the Secretariat of the Convention on Biological Diversity. Every year, 500,000 tons of dried medicinal and aromatic plants are traded internationally, and also unknown but substantial quantity is traded on national and local markets. The trade is in pharmaceutical plants is dominated by only 5 countries with 3 international trade centers: Germany, United States, and Hong Kong. We can say that the boss of this kind of business are 3: United States, Germany, and now Hong Kong is belong to the China. We can say that China too. The trade also provides as a source of income to millions of households involved in collection, with women often playing the major role, and supply industrial production of a wide array of medicinal and household products. Although accurate data is lacking, available information indicates that trade is increasing. I'm sure that trade of medicinal and aromatic plants is increasing recently. Medicinal plants are extracted and processed for direct consumption as herbal and traditional medicine, or prepared for experimental purposes. The concept of preparation of medicinal plant for experimental purposes involves the proper and timely collection of the plant, authentication by an expert like Professor Harun, adequate drying and grinding. This is followed by extraction, fractionation, and isolation of the bioactive component where applicable. For example, in propolis, there are more than 300 bioactive components such as caffeic acid, phenyl ester, galangin, etc. In addition, it comprises determination of quantity and quality of bioactive components.
Akdeniz Havzası'nda ki ülkelerde genelde yüksek çıkıyor.
And the Professor Harun says that mostly this kind of bioactive component is very high in Mediterranean zone. Means Mediterranean zone consists bioactive component herbs much more than other zones. Extraction of medicinal plants is a process of separating active plant materials or secondary metabolites such as alkaloids, flavonoids, terpenes, saponins, steroids, glycosides from inert or inactive material using an appropriate solvent and standard extraction procedure. Plant materials with high content of phenolic compounds and flavonoids were found to possess antioxidant properties and hence are used to treat age-related diseases such as Alzheimer's diseases, Parkinson, anxiety, and depression. Several methods were used in the extraction of medicinal plant such as maceration, infusion, decoction, percolation, digestion, and oxalate extraction, superficial extraction, ultrasound assisted and microwave assisted extraction. In addition, thin layer chromatography that we are using too much, and high performance liquid chromatography, HPLC, that we are using regularly, and the paper chromatography and gas chromatography we are using all of them in our laboratory very regularly. Yeah, but mostly we are using the HPLC and the gas chromatography much more than others. The choice of an appropriate extraction method depends on the nature of the plant material, solvent used, pH of the solvent, temperature, and solvent to sample ratio. It also depends on the intended use of the final products. So, let me talk about the solvent of extraction a bit. The solvent used for the extraction of medicinal plant is also known as the menstruum. The choice of solvent depends on the type of plant. We cannot use all kind of solvent for all medical or aromatic plants. Yeah. During liquid extraction, the conventional way is to select two miscible solvents such as water, dichloromethane, water ether, and water hexane. In all combinations, water is the present because of its high polarity and miscibility with organic solvent. The compound to be extracted using liquid extraction should be soluble in organic solvent but not in water to ease separation. During the fractionation, the selected solvent is added according to the order of increasing polarity, starting from hexane, the least polar, to water with the highest polarity. If a researcher wishes to select 5 solvents during the Fractionation, to useful practice is to choose two solvents with low polarity, like hexane chloroform, two with medium polarity, like dichloromethane and N-butanol, and one type highest polarity, like water. Now you will be informed about the extractions. Now, properties of solvent of extractions: water, alcohol, chloroform, ether, ionic liquid, green solvent. We are using to get herb or herbs extract. Yeah, by using this kind of solvent, water, alcohol, chloroform, ether. There are some advantages and disadvantages of all of this liquid materials. I don't want to talk about much more because it's technical. Let's tell you factors to be considered in selecting solvent of extraction. Various factors unenumerated below should be taken into consideration when choosing a solvent of extraction. Selectivity, the ability of choosing solvent to extract the active constituent and leave the inert material. Safety, ideal solvent of extraction should be non-toxic or non-flammable. Cost, it should be cheap as possible, as much as possible. But sometimes it's not so easy to find some cheap materials to use as a solvent. Reactivity, suitable solvent of extraction shouldn't react with the extract. Recovery, the solvent of extraction should be quickly recovered and separated from the extract. Viscosity should be of low viscosity to allow easy of penetration. And the boiling temperature, solvent boiling temperature should be as low as possible to prevent degradation by heat. Yeah, generally we must be sure that the component of the bioactive component, then nature of the bioactive component mustn't turn denaturation. And there are methods used in extraction of medicinal plants. I don't want to tell about much more because it's technical, but I can say that the choice of an appropriate way of extraction is very vital, which in some cases depends on the intended use of an extract actors to be considered in choosing extraction method, like stability to heat, nature of solvent, cost of the drug, duration of extraction, final volume required, intended use. And the commonly used methods in the extraction of medicinal plants is maceration and infusion. Maceration is an extraction procedure in which coarsely powdered drug material, either leaves or stem, bark or root bark, is placed inside a container. The menstruum is poured on top until completely covered the drug material. Infusion is an extraction process such as maceration, but the drug material is grinded into fine powder and then placed inside a clean container. The extraction solvent, hot or cold, is then poured on top of the drug material, soaked and kept for a short period of time. And digestion, this is an extraction method that involves the use of moderate heat during extraction process. And decoction. This is the process that involves continuous hot extraction using specified volume of water as a solvent. Now we are using the water for decoction. Another item is percolation. The apparatus used in this process is called percolator. It's a narrow cone-shaped glass vessel with opening at the both ends. A dried, grinded, and finally powdered plant materials is moistened with the solvent of extraction in a clean container. And we are using the oxalate extraction very widely. This process is otherwise known as continuous hot extraction. The apparatus is called oxalate extractor, made up of glass. It's also well known. Yeah, it's practical also. Also, we use the microwave assisted extraction. This is one of the advanced extraction procedures in preparation of medicinal plants. The technique uses mechanism of dipole rotation and ionic transfer by displacement of charged ions present in the solvent and drug material. There are, of course, many advantages and disadvantages of this methods and materials. I think no need to talk about that too deeply. Let's talk about the fractionation and purification methods too. There are some methods such as chemical methods, physical methods to use the obtain of extracts. For example, chemical methods is an extraction method based on the type of functional groups possessed by compound in the given mixture. Separation of purification can be achieved by chemical reactions using appropriate reagents. Physical methods used in separation of compounds from mixtures include separation funnel method, chromatographic techniques, fractional distillation, fractional crystallization, fractional liberation, and sublimation. And we are using identification techniques as well. Several methods were used in the identification of compounds from medicinal plant extracts. It comprises detection of functional group, presence of multiple bonds and rings, hydrogen and carbon arrangement, as well as full structural elucidation. The techniques used include mass spectroscopy, ultraviolet spectroscopy, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, and infrared spectroscopy, etc. Conclusion. Several works have been done on medicinal plants either to investigate and prove a reported claims of biological activity or to mimic its traditional medicinal use based on ethnomedicinal survey. Large numbers of medicinal plants have been extracted, fractionated, and compound isolated successfully. In addition, compounds obtained were tested for biological or pharmacological activity, and in most cases, they were found to be active. Nonetheless, the rate of success and authenticity of these findings depends on the accuracy in selection of solvents, selection and proper execution of extraction methods, phytochemical screening, fractionation, and identification techniques. Lastly, proper understanding and implementation of these techniques are indispensable. Advancement and modification of these methods periodically will ease the research process and improve the outcome. Thank you for the listening.